Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing a 2023 Ford Maverick XLT Hybrid. That was kind of a long name, but anyways, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller, Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with this Maverick. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter four-cylinder paired to a hybrid system and a CVT. Now, fuel economy with this system is supposed to be about 37 miles per gallon combined between city and highway driving. When it comes to power outputs, it's got 191 horsepower. Now, a lot of sources state that it has 155 pound-feet of torque. I'm not so sure how accurate that is, but that's under the hood. Now, before we go over the front end of the Maverick, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see this one is finished in Area 51, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. Notice just like the F-150, the hood is kind of raised there on either side as well. Now I've got these cool LED lights here at the front end, and then notice with the grille, it's dark gray. You got the Ford logo there in the center, and then also dark gray down below. And putting it all together, I think that Ford did a really good job with the design of the Maverick, kind of mixing like an old school like truck aesthetic, if that makes sense, but then also with, you know, some modern elements like the headlights, for example. Coming around the side here, tire wheel setup is 225, 65, 17 in the front and in the rear as well. You guys can see with the wheel design metallic gray, which I think looks fantastic, especially with this Area 51. Now, something to note, the hybrid Maverick is front wheel drive. And then something else to note is we've got independent suspension in the front and also in the rear. So we've got this XLT badge here on the side. Notice with the mirror caps how they match the door handles and then also the trim around the windows. And then here's your full side view on the Maverick. Again, that Area 51 definitely pops. So here's a key fob for the Maverick. You guys can see we've got our unlock function or lock function. We've got the little key fob pop out itself and then the Ford logo there on the back. Now popping into the bed area, you guys can see that we have a very reasonably sized bed. We've got 1,552 pounds of payload capacity, if you are wondering. And yeah, I mean, this is super, super usable, especially when you compare it to like the Hyundai Santa Cruz, for example. Lifting that up, very light. We have these very boxy looking taillights, Maverick stamped into the tailgate. We've got our Ford badge hybrid down below. And then you guys can see with the bumper, we've got a receiver hitch as well. With the hybrid, you can tow about 2,000 pounds. And finishing things up with the Maverick, you know, it's been out for like, what, a couple years now at this point. Still looks great. Like they've done a good job with the design. And speaking of good job with the design, I love the interior theme with the Maverick. So you guys can see, it's actually hard to touch here at the top, but once you pop down below to like the armrest area, it's nicely padded. I love just like the different colors here, the orange too. It's a lot going on, but I like it. You can see the window control there as well. And that theme continues on to the seats. So you guys can see it's lighter here at the top. You got the orange stitching, and then you have like the blue at the bottom portion of the seat. This is probably the worst camera angle ever, but you guys will notice we also have storage underneath the seat on top of that. So that's the practicality. And by the way, to get the seat up, you just pull that strap. Legroom here in the back is fantastic. We actually don't get a storage pocket here for the driver's side passenger, but for the passenger side passenger, we do get a storage pocket. And then we got a little 12 volt down below. And then headroom back here is also great. And you know what? I think I'm in love with the Maverick because it's got a cup holder armrest. Now with the front door panel, you guys can see again with the blue and then got the padding right there. All of our window controls right here. I love the grab handle and then the storage down below. We do have our mirrors, which have a little like convex mirror on either side to help out with visibility. And then with the front seats again, you've got like the white here and then look at the blue down below. The seat is manually adjustable. And then this has the double pull for the hood. You guys saw that earlier. We have to pull it twice, so there's no like latch to unlatch, if that makes sense. It's just double pull. And finally, we've got our light controls here on the side. You can see for like cargo light, your gas cap release as well. And then you guys can see the steering wheel itself is manually adjustable. And look at the trim. Again, that's sweet. And we got this key that we got to do this thing with. Now taking a look at the steering wheel itself, pretty grippy with the wheel part of the steering wheel. We've got controls for the center stack, your voice command, phone controls, volume controls, and then we have cruise control as well. Good old turn signal stock, and then a windshield wiper stock. So really cool gauge cluster here in the center. You've got this little dial over here that show you what's happening with the hybrid system. And then you can see here with the center screen, we can scroll through here to see different bits of info on the truck itself. I noticed it said all electric, but the engine's on right now, so it's not all electric. Suspicious. But basic systems within the vehicle will also show up here. Pretty easy to use overall. You even have the EV coach. Basically what that'll do is, once you come to a stop after you've been driving, it'll let you know, I guess, how good of an EV driver you have been. And then we do have some drive modes. We got a normal, tow haul, slippery, eco, and then a sport mode as well. Now in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. We also have a zoom function with the camera, and resolution is pretty solid. Now as for the rest of the infotainment system, we have a shortcut bar here at the bottom. Now response time is pretty good, even though this has a little plastic covering on it. It seems like it still responds really well. But the coolest feature is the fact that you just have like a storage cubby right next to the infotainment system. You actually also have storage behind as well. And then you probably notice the analog controls here for the radio just down below that. And then you can see here for the vents, look at the orange on those. That's pretty cool. And then we do have a single zone climate with this. Now actually, before we go further down with the Maverick, you guys can see the dash. I really like the texturing here at the top, and then how that goes into the white trim. It's not necessarily like the nicest in terms of the touch, because it's just kind of like hard to touch, but it looks really cool. Now we've got some USB action here, and then some more storage. Storage is like the theme of the Maverick, I've noticed. We got the dial shifter here for the transmission. Your parking brake just down below that. You've got some cup holder action, more storage. Drive mode select here with your stability control, and then that is for your auto hold feature. And then you can see we've got some more storage there. And then look at the center console. And see, this thing I want to mention is like the touch points here, I feel like in the Maverick are really nice. And then finally, glove box. Up top here, we do have a manual mirror dimmer, and then we have our sunglass holder here, and then just a lighter colored headliner. And then also the rear glass is fixed, if you're wondering. Now when it comes to pricing, the XLT Hybrid starts at just under $25,000 before options and all of that fun stuff. And let's cap things off for today's video. Okay, well, this is normally the part of the video where I drive the truck, but this truck happens to be pre-sold. Shout out to the new owner for letting me review the truck, but also I don't really need to drive the Maverick Hybrid because Ford let me have one for like a week. I think it was like last year. I can't remember. I review so many cars, I lose track. But I do remember my time with the Maverick Hybrid, and it was an absolute blast. I think this truck is actually really, really solid. And I am going to use the term truck at this point because more and more automakers are starting to build these unibody vehicles with truck beds. And so at this point, like it's a new truck segment. We have, the body on frame trucks, which are most pickup trucks, and now we have the unibody trucks that are very small in terms of the overall size, but very big in terms of practicality. And that's what I love about this Maverick Hybrid, because it does so many things, and it does so many things really well. So first off, as a commuter, it's really good because it has very comfortable suspension, the seats are comfortable, and on top of that, being a hybrid means it gets great fuel economy. Now, in terms of acceleration, this thing isn't a rocket ship by any means, that's not what it's about, but it gets up and moves at a pretty solid pace, so that is also a big plus. And then the other thing with practicality is obviously the space. It has a bed, which adds to the practicality a massive amount, but it has a bed that's very spacious. And then you've got a lot of space in the back. Like, I have a Toyota Tacoma this week, and I feel like this has more rear passenger space than the Tacoma does. And the Tacoma is much larger in terms of overall size. And then the payload capacity is also massive. I mean, there are full-size pickup trucks which have less payload capacity than this. And then you got like the underseat storage. Like, there's so many things to love about this Maverick Hybrid. Now, the one thing I do see a lot online is people saying they can't get the EPA rated fuel economy numbers. I don't know what that's about, because I got pretty close to what the EPA rates this at. I think it was like 40-ish miles per gallon on the highway, and then it's like low 30s around town. I feel like that's very easy to get with the Maverick, as long as you're not like driving it like a rally car race driver, basically. So overall, I'm a huge fan of the Maverick Hybrid. The only thing that I see that's annoying about this truck that I think Ford needs to fix is build more of them. Seriously, like, there's so much demand for this truck. They're all sold out, and I think that Ford just should try to build as many of these Mavericks as they possibly can, because it's just such a good vehicle. Let me know what you guys think.